Hello and welcome back to another Jack's vlog. It's been a little while since I've done one of these. It's been a very busy few months for us. We've had this time of year is where we start to get our hands on the final products, the final samples coming in for the end of the year, what's going to be coming out into the new catalogue. So it's been all systems go on getting as much content for those in preparation for their release. So it's been very, very busy. I've been on the bank a lot, but had very minimal time to get the rods out or even be fishing. Even in my own personal fishing as well, there's been other stuff going on in the background. But I am out and I've got a couple of hours, 3 or 4 hours to spare. I'm at Digger Lakes down in Devon and it is gorgeous down here. I'm on Snell's Lake, which is the weedier of the two lakes here, and it historically always had the bigger fish in, but I think Percy's now is getting up there. So I've just been photographing some new clothing that we've got out, coming out later this year or somewhere in the near future, and a few hours to try and catch myself a carp, and it's all possible. There's quite a few fish showing, so I'm gonna have a walk round and see if we can see some fish. Well, I've got the barrow loaded and I've just walked round and spotted my first sort of opportunity. There's a swim just on the far margin over there, just between the trees, and I've just spotted a few fish down in this area. I mean, it is choked full of weeds, and I think from what I can see through the trees, it's pretty choked full of weed all the way out. So I think what I'm going to do, make my way around there, and I think I am going to do a bit of freelining. I'm going to put the waders on and I might wade out to where the sort of fish are and see if I can entice one of them to take the bait on the drop. I think it's definitely possible, but it looks absolutely spot on for a bite. Well, I've just taken a walk round and I've ended up in this corner swim right at the end of the lake, and I come here and it was absolutely black. There was 5 or 6 fish just out in that middle sort of channel there, and there was a couple of fish just sitting in the weed. They seem to have disappeared for the time being, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to put on the worm, free line, I'm going to put the waders on. Oh, there's a fish just off the island there. Put the waders on. I think I'm going to wade out to him, just free line, see if I can get one to take on a bit of a reaction of putting a bait in front of it. I think that's going to be the best course. I don't want to bother with floaters, don't want to make too much disturbance. I'm going to gently wade out and sort of take them a bit unsurprising, so hopefully we can bag ourselves a carp. Well, let me show you the kit that I use when I tend to do a bit of free lining or a bit of stalking, and that is the Crosscast EXT 9 foot 2 3/4 pound test curve. Perfect for this sort of fishing. As you can tell, there's a lot of weed in that 2 3/4 pound test curve. Has plenty of backbone to be dealing with this sort of situation, especially in the 9 foot model, and it's lightweight, and I can just leave it stored in the van. If I end up not using it in the session, it's not taking up too much room, I'm happy just to leave that in the van for the session. But on situations like this, when you do have the opportunity of doing a bit of free lining, these shorter rods for just getting in and out under sort of like these little canopies of trees, which I have done in the past, a shorter rod is the way forward. Yes! Come on. Stalking them at its best. It's weeded me up already. Get in. That is a right result. It's already weeded me up. I don't know where he's gone. He's in this weed bed somewhere. But I'm so patiently waiting for that fish to take, and finding one that was ready to take it, because there was a few here, but a few kept spooking off it. I have to get rid of some of this weed. I can still feel him, he's still on. It's the other side of the weed bed. Oh, this is heart and mouth stuff, this. He's trying to get in the other big one. Come on, back, 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 back. I've only got a size 10 hook on. I didn't want to go too big. We're putting the bait directly on the hook. This gets the old heart racing. Come on. It's not a bad fish either. Oh, it's taking me in the weed. Come back. Come back. Come back. Come on. Come back. No. This is hitting old stuff, this. I think it's got a bit of the way in there. It's all gone solid again. Oh, I've got him free. He's going for another lunge. Where are you? I've just got a big ball of weed. Big ball of weed, and I think there's a fish somewhere in there. Yes, there he is. We got him in the net. Oh my lord, I don't think I've been through so much landing just one fish. Try and sort myself out here a minute. So I've got stuff going always. But the fish is in the net. Alright, fish safety, most important thing. Make sure the fish is alright. Yeah, the fish is all good. Get most of the the net out so we can make the net glide over the surface a bit more. Job done. I knew going off stalking would pay off eventually. Just finding one fish that was willing to take it. Just finding one fish willing to take it. Get in. What a result. That's getting up for the £20 mark. Yeah, it's 20. Yeah. Well, there we go. The hard work has finally paid off. I was just following a group of fish from weed bed to weed bed, and they were all spooking off of the bait, and I just changed it. I tipped it with a little bit of corn, and the first fish I put it in front spooked off, and then this one came out and absolutely nailed it. We reckon it's just over the £20 mark. We're going to weigh it, get a few pictures and slip it back. What a result. Well, I just slipped that fish back and we got it on the scales, and it turned out to be 25.5 pounds. So a little bit bigger than what I first imagined, and it did feel that when I brought it out from the water, it did feel like it was a good fish. Low 20 was probably a bit reserved on the estimate, but what a way to catch them as well. Just free lining, little worm on the end, little bit of corn, and just dangling down in front of its nose and hoping to get a bit of a reaction from it. And that one decided he wanted it. So as you can tell, there are no fish left in the area. It caused a lot of commotion. That fight went on probably 30 minutes. It was just going weed bed to weed bed to weed bed, burying itself in, and then I was having to sort of hand line it, get the weed off, and then we were back in business. And then it would bury itself into the next weed bed it can find. As you can see, it's absolutely stacked full of weed. But I don't mind it, to be honest, because you can, especially if you can see the fish. And usually those areas there, that's where the fish are feeding. You know, I was walking over the top of that, and that was just pure gravel. I mean, that's the sort of areas you want to be putting your bait if I was here for the night. But free lining, it's just got something special about it. A little bit of adrenaline when you hook the fish, or when you're stalking the fish. You can't beat it. I'm gonna put the kit back on the barrel. I'll just turn you around a minute. As you can see, it's a little bit of a mess, so I'm going to get the kit back loaded on the barrow, walk round to the upper swims, and see if we can maybe snag ourselves one more. I've probably got enough for hours worth of fishing. Been here a couple of hours already. Hopefully we can get one. Well, as you can see, it's absolutely gorgeous here. I've almost completed a full lap. We're almost back into the swim that I had that 25.5 pounder from earlier on. And I haven't really spotted many more opportunities to go at. But before I continue with my lap, what I wanted to do is just run you through some of the fishing that I've also been up to this month. Haven't been up to too much, like I said. I've been on the bank quite a bit doing filming, but I have had only a couple of occasions where I've got the rods out. The first one, I went up to Hardwick Smiths with Ryan, who is the Daiwa UK content creator. We actually started off on one of the reservoirs up in his area, and then we moved on to Hardwick Smiths at Linear for the night. So here's how we got on with that. Well, today you join me at Banbury Reservoir. I've just got here. Going to be meeting Ryan, who works for Daiwa as well. I've got with me the Mission Overnighter Plus, which by the time you see this video, I believe it's going to be out or coming out very, very shortly. I'll give you an in-depth look at that later on today. We're going to be meeting him to do some Daiwa UK specific content only for that particular brolly system. It's a great bit of kit. We're going to be visiting a few venues today, so there's going to be very minimal fishing. We're just getting the content that we need. We're going to be starting off here, Banbury Reservoir. We might even head to a canal, and then we're going to be heading to Linear and potentially doing the night there until sort of midday tomorrow, I'd imagine. We're going to be hoping to get on Hardwick and Smiths if we can. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to go back to the van, see if Ryan's arrived in the car park yet, and then we'll get the kit out and get on with the content. Well, conditions today are absolutely spot on for a bit of fishing. Southwesterly wind, low pressure and intermittent showers. I think I drove through 6 or 7 rain showers in the last sort of hour, on the last hour of the trip to get here. It's looking spot on. Well, we have made it to Linear and we're on Hardwick and Smith, as you can see just over my shoulder. And it's just slowly starting to set, the sun just in the background there. We've got the rods out just before it gets dark. Let me just turn you around. And the rods are out. Only fishing the 2 rods tonight. I mean, we're losing the light quite rapidly. And the spot that I'm fishing out there, it's only just over 14 wraps out towards this tree here. There's a nice gravel sort of bar there. And I've decided just to stick those 2 just on the back end of it. Put out some bait, probably 8 spoms of pellet corn, hemp and some Pacific tuna. It's looking good for a bite. A chap just a couple of swims down, we photographed a 37-pound fully scaled for, so there's fish in the area. I'll just run you through the rods that I'm using today. I've got something very, very special, the Basia X45X rods, and by the time that you come round to see this video, these rods should be on the market in the UK and coming to Europe later this year. Absolutely incredible rods, so light, and they're paired up with the Tournament Basia 45 SCW QD reels. Just a perfect setup. But I'm gonna get the dinner on now. Absolutely starving. Hopefully one of these rod rips off during the night. Well, good morning, and it's been a very, very quiet night. Nothing to report. The rods have remained motionless. I haven't really heard anything. I've been awake now for the last couple of hours, just after first light. I haven't seen anything or heard anything. Really, really strange. The weather seems sort of bang on for it, but the carp just haven't turned up on that baited spot. Still got a few hours of the rods being out, so I'm gonna get the kettle on. Now I might even change up one of the rods, maybe chuck out a solid bag, find enough a little area, because they did turn up in the margins from the chap down 2 swims to our left. He did have a 37-pound fully scaled, only sort of 10 yards from the bank, but that was sort of late afternoon as it got hot. But I don't know, still hopeful that there could be something turn up. I'll give you a bit of a closer look at the new Mission Overnighter Plus in a little bit, but for now I'm just gonna have a cup of tea, have some breakfast, and we've got to get the rest of the filming done of this brolly. Well, here we go then, the Mission Overnighter Plus. It's had a few upgrades, a bit of a modernisation from its predecessor. We now have a front zippable infill panel, so you can take that out as and when required. It comes with a PVC ground sheet as well to give you an extra sort of layer from the damp in those colder months, and then 4 storm poles as well. So you've got your 2 on the side, this one and then this one over here to give the bivvy its shape, and then you've got the 2 longer ones to give it that rigidity in those harsher weather conditions. I'll just zip up the door a minute. As you can see, absolutely plenty of room inside the shelter. Got more space at the back there for more storage, and yeah, plenty of room for your luggage, stuff fitting under the bed chair as well. Perfect sort of size even for your longer sessions. Give you a view of the back. a dark green material, 320D polyester, so a nice durable material to keep you nice and protected even in the wettest conditions. If you're interested or in the market for a new shelter, definitely take a look at this one. Visit your local Daiwa stockist or check out the Daiwa Carp website for more information. Well, it's been a bit of a rainy start here this morning. I've just redone both of the rods because we have spotted some carp just in off the margin. A couple have rolled probably only no more than 10 to 15 yards out, so I've put 2 solid bags. Both rods have gone out towards each show. They're sort of within 10 yards of each other. I've got sort of okay drops on it. I'm not going to redo them. I'm happy with where they are. I don't want to risk spooking any fish that are in the area, so fingers crossed. We've got an hour or two left. We bag one before we have to go. We're just doing the last bits of filming, last few photos for the Mission Overnighter Plus, and then it'll be time to head on. Unfortunately, that trip did end in a blank, but it wasn't long before I was back up at Hardwick Smiths with Jack and Lewis, our consultants. I was filming some new rods that we've got coming out at the end of this year, so be sure to check out those when they do come out. And that was a bit more eventful for me. Managed to get the rods out overnight. We did a sort of like a 36-hour session, and I managed to get the rods out overnight, and yeah, that was a bit more eventful for me. Well, it looks absolutely gorgeous today. The plan is hopefully get most of the filming done today for the rods that are going to be coming out at the end of the year, and then once we sort of wrap up for the day, I'm going to get my rods out as well for the evening, going into the morning tomorrow, and then hopefully we can all bag ourselves a carp. It's just coming up to 7:30 and we finished the majority of the filming for the day. Just a few last shots to get. The majority of the new rods footage has been filmed. We've got quite a little bit to do in the morning, and then it'll be on to the other videos. But we're in pegs 3, 4 and 5. For anyone that knows Hardwick, it's the one right next to the road. So I'll just swivel you round. So there's a shelter at the minute, an absolute mess. The main road just runs along there, and this is the body of water that I'm going to be fishing later this evening. I haven't even found a spot. It took Jack a couple of hours to find a spot out in his swim. He's one furthest on the left, and we've got Lewis in between us. They struggled to find some sort of areas to fish, so it's going to be fun. I'm going to be slowly losing the light, which is going to make trying to find a spot even more interesting, and getting 3 rods out there. I don't really know the tactics yet until I sort of have a scope about, but it's going to be a bit of a mad rush now to get the rods out before it gets dark. There we go. What about that? 21 pound in ounces. It's been a bit of a rush this evening. We got the filming wrapped up with about an hour of sunlight left, and it took me about an hour and a half really to find a spot that I was any at all happy at getting a bit of bait over. And still then I wasn't too happy with it. It was just the cleaner area I could find, and it's hard, sort of the hardest sort of donk I was getting on the bottom. And I've put some bait out, 2 rods over it. I've only fished with 2 rods today because of losing the time, losing the light, and didn't want to disturb the swim anymore. And 1:30 in the morning, it's ripped off of this one. Ronnie rig, NS1 yellow pop-up, doing the business. Get in. Right, let's slip her back, and there might be a few more on the cards. Well, there we go, bang on 27 pounds, and I was literally just about to get some photos of that mirror, and this rod has ripped off. So that's both rods that have produced a fish now. I've just put them back out. I think it's time to slip this one back, but what an absolute corker. Right, let's get her back and hopefully get a few more during the night.
He woke me up at 2 AM for that. He thinks it's Mary.
Well, good morning, and what a glorious morning it is. The sun is up already and it's absolutely scorching. It's just gone 5:30 and that sun is so bright already. But what a night, 2 fish. I was toying with the idea of not even putting any rods out last night. I had an hour before dark. Took me an hour and a half to find a spot that I was semi happy with, not one that, you know, that just screams it. It was harder than any of the areas around. It was a little bit shallower. It was more about 8 foot as opposed to sort of the 12, 13, 14 foot I was finding around it. And I'm still bringing back a little bit of eelgrass on the grappler lead, but I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna stick the rods there. I know they'll be presented. Couple of Ronnies, bang. In 1/2 it happened. We had the 21 pound mirror just over the 21 pound mark, and then just as I was getting some pictures of that, the upper rod ripped off, and that was a 27 pound common, so cannot complain at all. I don't know what Jack and Lewis have had. I haven't heard anything from them, so I'll go and find out in a bit. It's just gone 5:30 now. Let me just flip you around. Look at that for a view. Absolutely gorgeous. Got both the rods back out quickly after those fish, and I actually ended up spomming some bait out as well. I put enough sort of 1/2 kilo over the areas, so both rods are aiming for these trees here. Not too far, just comfortable distance, just over 18 wraps. So we've got the road behind us, so you're probably hearing all the traffic go by, but the plan of attack is there's a lot more filming to do today, so I'm going to end up probably bringing the rods in an hour or two once Jack and Lewis are up, and crack on with the filming. And if I'm here tonight, I'll get the rods back out. We'll see how the rest of the day goes. Well, that's the filming done for the day, and as you can see just behind me, the 2 rods are back out on the bait. Got them out a couple hours ago, just when we had a bit of a break, a bit of rain came in, so I got the 2 rods out, put a bit more bait out, and to be honest, I'm most likely going to end up packing up in the next hour or so. Lewis, who was in the swim next to me, he's decided he's going to have a move. There hasn't been sort of much in the terms of activity. Jack ended up having a couple of fish earlier this morning, but since then it has gone pretty quiet, and there's quite a lot of empty pegs around the lake in other lakes on the complex, so he's gonna have a look and see if he can see anything there, and Jack might even end up moving as well. So for me, I think that's a perfect opportunity to most likely pack these rods up, head home, and then that'll give me a clean slate in the morning to start editing up some of the footage and the photos that we've taken on the trip. Well, what a result that was, just getting the rods out just for the night. Managed those 2 fish, that absolutely immaculate common, which I was just that just made the night, that made it all worthwhile getting the rods out. And then as soon as first light hit, got the rods back in, packed them away, and I was back to filming. And Jack managed to bag himself a couple as well, which just finished off the video absolutely perfectly. But in last month's vlog, we did a giveaway, or we ran a giveaway, and the winner to be announced in this one. And that was for the Daiwa Crosscast landing net combo 2-piece for 1 lucky winner. I'm pleased to say the winner of that giveaway was John Penny. So John Penny, if you want to give the Daiwa Carp Instagram or myself on Jack Wheeler Fishing a message, a direct message, and we'll be able to get that prize sent out to you as soon as possible. Well, I think that's going to be about it for this vlog. I've just done a couple of laps of the lake and I can't really spot a sort of another opportunity to go at. So I'm going to put the kit in the van and make my way off. But thank you very much for watching the vlog. If you've enjoyed it, hit a like, drop a comment, let us know if you're enjoying them. And until the next time, I'll catch you later.